Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that really seems to hold people back. This idea that you need, a ton of money just to get a business off the ground. We've been looking into this, digging through some insights, and honestly, what we found might shift your perspective. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. Yeah, our goal here really is to figure out how you can build something solid, something sustainable, without needing that huge pile of cash up front. We're hunting for those nuggets of knowledge, the practical stuff that helps you actually do it.
And it's kind of surprising. Some of it is really fundamental. It cuts through all the noise about needing big investments and shows what actually makes a business stick around. Think of this as your shortcut to getting smart on starting lean, but building strong. So let's just face it head on, this idea that you must have massive capital. Is that always true? Because, it feels like such a gatekeeper, right? So many good ideas probably just fizzle out because of that initial fear.
Oh, definitely. It's a very common belief, and yeah, it's often the biggest roadblock people see. But here's the thing. The real power maybe isn't in the startup fund size. It's more about understanding a really key difference. It's about knowing if you're chasing a fleeting trend or if you're building something for the long haul, something sustainable.
Okay, that's a really interesting distinction. Let's dig into that more.
Yeah.
So on one side, you've got these trend-based businesses. You know the type, they blow up suddenly, maybe from a social media post, an influencer mention, like that specific kind of milk tea everyone had to try last year, or those weird little gadgets you see everywhere for a month. They can bring in cash fast, no doubt. But how long does that really last? What happens next?
Right. And what's fascinating here is just how vulnerable those businesses are. Their whole existence kind of hinges on being the next big thing. So their lifespan is directly tied to, well, how long people stay interested, which often isn't very long. Once the trend moves on or, a competitor pops up with something newer, poof, they struggle or even disappear. Because the foundation wasn't really solid. It was just novelty, like building on sand, basically.
Okay, so if that viral hit model is maybe not the path to, lasting success, what's the alternative? What does building to the long haul actually mean in practice? Does it just mean slow and maybe less exciting?
Not necessarily slow or boring, no. It's more about solving real problems, persistent ones. Businesses that offer services or products people genuinely need consistently, not just want because it's popular right now. Think about your local laundry shop, or a really good repair service for essential appliances, or maybe a tutoring center focused on core skills. Or let's go back to food, not the trendy stuff, but businesses mastering those classic Filipino dishes, the comfort food people always come back to.
Right. Things people will always need. Clean clothes, working fridges, good basic food.
Exactly. They might not get a million views overnight, but there's a constant demand.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah, go on.
it means their growth might not be that crazy explosive spike you see with trends,
Right.
but it's steadier, it's more reliable, and ultimately more sustainable.
Precisely. It's built on fundamental demand, not fleeting hype. It's less about chasing shiny objects and more about just reliably serving a core need, almost like a utility in a way.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Distinguishing between the flash in the pan and the long game is, well, critical. But now for you listening, the real burning question is probably, okay, great, but how do I actually do that? What are the practical steps? How do you build something sustainable when, the bank account isn't overflowing?
Right. And this is where practicality really shines. It's about being smart and resourceful. We've kind of boiled it down to 5 core strategies. First one, and maybe it sounds obvious, but it's often missed, leverage your skills and passions, but not just any skill. Focus on using it to solve a maybe less than glamorous problem.
Okay, less glamorous.
Yeah, something others might overlook because it's not trendy. Say you're great at baking. Instead of immediately aiming for a fancy cafe, what if you started by making specific baked goods for people with dietary restrictions in your local area? You use social media for orders, bake from home. Your kitchen is your starting point, not a costly shop lease. Low overhead, direct market.
Got it. So skill plus a specific, maybe unsexy need.
Exactly. Second, really lean into service-based businesses. These often need way less capital up front. Your biggest investment is usually your time, your expertise. Your skill is the inventory.
Like graphic design, writing?
Sure, those two. But think even more niche. Could you offer specialized virtual assistant services, but only for, say, independent artists, or content writing specifically for sustainable brands, or maybe a hyper-local cleaning service, but one that specializes in, I don't know, deep cleaning for allergy sufferers? The more specific, often the less competition and the more value you offer.
Okay, so specialization within service. That makes sense. What's third?
Third, get really good at spotting gaps. I mean, really looking around for unmet needs, especially small ones, micro needs. Forget trying to invent the next Facebook. Look locally. Is there a specific neighborhood that lacks reliable delivery for, say, fresh produce from the local market? Or maybe a community group that needs someone who can repair old sewing machines. It's about finding those little everyday frictions people just put up with.
And becoming the solution for that specific friction.
Precisely. It might feel small, but solving a real pain point, even a tiny one, builds loyalty like nothing else. That's sustainable.
Okay, number 4.
Fourth, use online platforms strategically, and not just as a shop window. Think Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, local forums, WhatsApp groups. Use them as like live testing labs.
Testing labs. How so?
Launch a very basic version of your product or service, a minimum viable product, or MVP. See what people say. Get immediate feedback. Does the description make sense? Is the price right? Who's actually interested? You can tweak and adjust really fast before you sink serious money into it. It helps you find your actual niche, not just the one you guessed.
Okay. So low-cost market research, basically.
In a way, yeah. Real-time, real customer research. And finally, number 5. Go deep on local sourcing and community connection. This isn't just feel-good stuff. It's smart business. Sourcing materials or ingredients locally often cuts down costs, transport, storage. Plus, it builds relationships with other local businesses. You support each other.
And the community part.
When you're genuinely engaged with your local community, your customers become your biggest champions. Word of mouth is powerful, and it's free marketing. You're not just selling to them, you're part of the fabric with them. That builds incredible resilience.
Wow, okay. Those 5 points, they paint a very different picture. It's not about scaling fast with huge investment. It's about being clever, observant, community-focused, and building something inherently strong from the ground up, even if it starts small.
That's exactly it. It's about resilience, adaptability, being deeply rooted. That's what helps a business weather storms, Economic downturns, changing tastes. If you're essential and connected, you're much harder to shake. So yeah, the main takeaway here, building something sustainable, something that lasts, it's less about having deep pockets and more about grit, common sense, sharp observation, and just having the guts to start small by meeting a real need, even if it's an unglamorous one. Those small, consistent steps, they can absolutely build something significant, something that supports families, that strengthens communities. It really can be done, which I guess this raises an important question.
It certainly does. And it's a question for you, listening right now. Think about it. What specific problem, maybe one nobody talks about, do you see around you? What skill or passion do you have that could offer a solution, even a small one? What's that micro need in your own neighborhood or online community that's just waiting? How might shifting your focus from what's merely popular to what's truly essential change how you think about creativity, about solving problems, maybe even about your own career path? It goes way beyond just starting a business, doesn't it? Where could you maybe take one small practical step today to begin building something truly lasting?